GOP needs to land and align on abortion and get a platform. I have said this for so long. Jeremiah, thanks for liking the stream. Listen, this isn't going to be popular. You have a choice. You can listen to it or not. Abortion is morally, ethically, and existentially abhorrent. There is absolutely, whether it is rape, incest, life of mother, or prevention, whatever it may be, it's a travesty because no child is born bad. None. I don't care how bad the father was. I don't care how violent that was. A child is never a mistake. And I believe that. Do I believe a 12-year-old should have a baby? No. Bob, thanks for following us. Do I believe that a woman who has her life at risk and has 7 other kids and a husband waiting for her should give up her life for her child? That is the mother's choice and not mine. Do I believe that in the case of incest and being violated by somebody, that you should be forced or raped and to have a child? No. I believe that life is precious, but in order to move forward, in order to evolve, in order to move onto more pressing things like the security of our country, the family values that were inherent in our country, the belief in a higher being, the sovereignty of our country, the faith restored in our government and our leaders, we have to find a solution for this. The heartbeat bill and the right to life bill have been sitting there for 10 years. And they are 2 pieces of legislation that are almost diametrically opposed. Until we agree on when the beginning of life is, then you must say that the beginning of life is at conception. Because until we can agree, the risk is too great to be flippant. The risk is too great to continue to allow another 67 million babies to be aborted in this country. We need to err on the side of caution. And instead of being callous, we must be cautious. And we must assume the very best of life, which is at the beginning of conception. That is when life is established. And if that is the case, then we must be very diligent and very careful and use our morals, use our belief in a higher power, and use science and use everything at our disposal to find the answer of what's acceptable. And I believe the right to life bill does that. 15 weeks. It's not what I want. But what I do want is it's not a zero-sum game. It can't be, because 67 million lives, if we could have put something like the right to life bill in place, we could have saved 50 million kids. The next Steve Jobs, the next Martin Luther King, the next Jimi Hendrix, the next Beatles, the next you, is a very good chance that they're gone forever and they'll never be replaced. And I understand that I would love to have it all gone, but you're not going to get that. So we might as well save as many as we can and stop the modern day slave plantations, forcing eugenics on African Americans, which is how abortion started to begin with. It started with a systematic control of eliminating Native Americans and purifying them who wouldn't accept Christian Judeo ethics and Christian values. The African American populations have been decimated by abortion, and it is a solution for bad fathering, bad parenting, bad family values, and a lack of choices in the inner city. And if a Republican can't talk like me, then get off the effing stage and find the person who can. Because if you can't say the things that I am saying to the constituents of this country to make sure that they understand that we can have a conversation, and most of those conversations is not between two opposing forces, but the one within yourself. You must find the will to talk to yourself and convince yourself that there are multiple angles to this conversation, and you must have them. That way you are open and receptive to a possible change and solution to the problem, which is abortion in this country. Because having one side that unfettered access and having abortion up to birth, and the other side that says if you take your embryos as a woman who is infertile and can't have a child and your husband is, or maybe that the technology isn't there for artificial insemination and in vitro, and you want to freeze your embryo in order to go ahead and have a chance of having life, the gift of life, sometime in the future, and you are outlawing that and saying that that is murder, you are the same person who is just as bad on the left. You are a zealot and you are insane. You don't have to like it. You don't have to love it. But I am not going to a woman who wants to have a baby more than anything else in the world, like my sister, who I despise with everything in my soul, but I feel for her that she never had the love of a child that was her own, so therefore she tried to take ours. But I still feel for her, and I can understand the pain and hell she went through as she tried for years to have a child by every medical means necessary. She prayed, she lit candles, she sacrificed, she was torn apart, and any woman should have the best possible chance of having a child. And if that means freezing an embryo, then damn it, she has every right to try to do that. And the people who are trying to shut that down in the name of stopping abortion are a bunch of Pegalian mother effers to a level that I can't even begin to tell you. I have a very big problem with people who say in draconian measures that it's my way or the highway. You have never been in that position. You have never walked in those people's shoes, and you're awful frickin' judgy for a Christian. I am 100% pro-life. And the decision if my daughter was raped, if my daughter was violated, if my daughter was an age where she could not have a child, I would have that conversation with her, and I would give her and be with her for that moment and hold her hand with whatever decision she made. But as a father, until I'm faced with that situation, it's easy for me to sit here and say, but that does not mean that that is what I would do. And if you can't see that, and you can't possibly be slightly flexible on the right, okay, caller, I'll call you back in a second. If you can't see that, then you are just as bad as the people on the left who refuse to give an inch. I told you in 2020 that abortion was going to be on the ballot. I told you in 2022 is going to be in the ballot. I told you in 2023 is going to be in the ballot, and it will be on the ballot in 2024. The Republicans must vote and push forward again while they have the House, the right to life and the heartbeat bill, and force a vote. And get it on record that they are willing to be accommodating. It's not going to get passed anyway. But if you don't do that, 2024 is going to go the same way that 2023 did, 2022 did, 2018 did, and 2020 did. You must take this argument away from them. And the second thing that Republicans need to do is we need to get on the same page, and having places like Alabama and Arkansas and these batshit backwoods crazy states that I love and I think are beautiful and some of the best people are from, but the politicians are frickin' loony. 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 I don't agree with liberals much, but I do agree that there are some insane politicians out there that are going so far beyond the pale that it's very difficult for me to align with them in any way. Don't believe me? Watch this.
Go in those places with shorts than you will women with pants and dresses put together. Try it. If you got time, try it. Have your boy go up there and try it. Just watch for him. Have your girl go up there and watch for it. And you know, I used to say this, and I haven't said this in a long time. You ready? I said, if you dress like that and you get raped and I'm on the jury, he's going to go free. You don't like it, do you? I'm right, though. I can't help you don't like it. I'm right. Because, you know, a man's a man.
A man's a man. Well, Matt, not everybody's like that. Not every priest or preacher or father or parish believes that. Not every Republican believes that. Not every backwoods gas station clerk believes that. Not every major oil tycoon believes that, or a person on Wall Street who's a yuppie and drives a BMW. You're right, they don't. Because there has come a point in our lives where we call out shit like that. We hit it. And we don't let it to breathe anymore. We don't allow it to breathe anymore, because that stuff right there, that is evil. You want to know what Satan is? You want to know what evil looks like? It's that guy. That guy's evil. There was a time in this country where we were able to discern between right and wrong, and I don't know where we lost it, but I'll tell you what, I don't like where we're going. We have lost the moral imperative to understand that there are people out there who are truly evil. And when we can't call it out anymore, and those are people who want to take a beautiful newborn child out of a mother's arms and kill it, those people are evil. And the people that want to take away a woman's right to save her fertility until a day that science advances, or there's a breakthrough where she may be able to carry a surrogate or another child of her own in her own womb, is evil. It's the same people that say that there's false flags when it comes to shootings, and says that, you know, Sandy Hook is fake, or the most recent one is fake. Those people are just as evil. It's the people that can't recognize that Vladimir Putin is a tyrannical ruler, is a dictator, is a murderer. And Zelensky is also a piece of shit, oligarch, corrupt, dirty swindler at the same time. This is the lines of delineation between good and bad somehow have become compromising. That we can explain it away with nuance and whataboutism and things that have nothing to do with it. Like, oh, Donald Trump slapped somebody on the back of the shoulder, so it's okay that Biden sexually accosts women and kids. That we can somehow explain it away because Donald Trump's bad, that therefore Joe Biden is free and clear to do whatever he wants, however he wants, whether it's documents, whether it's taking money from China, as long as Trump gets held to a level of standard that's beyond the pale, it's fine what Joe Biden does because the other option is worse. That's like saying, I'll go ahead and take Genghis Khan because he killed less than Hitler. I am so tired of the moral flexibility on both parties. We may be Republicans, we may be Christians, we may believe in certain things, but there is a time and a place for bullheadedness and stubbornness, and there is also a time to open up your heart and your ears and your mind and shut up and listen to a story that may alter the way you see the world. And until we can figure out how to do that again, we are constantly going to be spinning our wheels. We're going to be constantly doing the same thing, two opposing forces pushing with equal mass, equal matter. It is futility and stagnation. I am not for abortion. And I don't believe in abortion because it's not something I should believe in, because whether I believe it or not, it happens. We should be working to assure that we get back to the standard of the 1960s and 70s and 80s and the 50s when they pushed the us, when they said it was going to be done in an emergency fashion. It was going to be used in a case of the utmost discretion and utmost rarity. That abortion was absolutely foul and abhorrent, and everyone agreed, whether you believed in God or not. That is what we were sold. That is what we were told. Just like the LGBTQ community, it wasn't about our kids and it wasn't pushing it in school, and that would never happen because it was never a choice. It was born in you. You were born this way. And we can't make kids gay because it's not a choice. That's what we were told. And then the LGBTQ community was completely taken hostage by the transgender movement and the other movements that we don't understand and we don't really freaking agree with. But we tolerate it and we tolerate it until finally we say, hey, no more. Our kids are off limits. Stay out of our schools. Knock that shit you promised us. And this is what we were afraid of. And you called us a bunch of bigots and a bunch of freaking Christian white nationalists and all this other shit. And now you're not happy with where you are, which is not a minority. You're not a subjugated class. You have 226 days a year that celebrate the LGBTQI spirit times 2 community. For the love of God, if that's marginalized, then black people, Hispanics, and Asians and Jews have a freaking conversation they would like to have with you. This isn't about that. It's about crossing a line. It's about steamrolling over people's beliefs when we have given an inch and you take a mile, whether it's our guns, whether it's a child, whether it's our children. Enough is enough. We need to listen. It doesn't mean we need to accept it into our hearts. The Republican Party is doing things that I don't agree with. I don't think you should stop a mother from getting a life-saving procedure. I'm sorry. I don't. I don't think you should also take a child out of the womb or just freshly born and sit there and make a decision to terminate that life. These decisions take responsibility. The right to life is a responsibility. Accepting people around us and loving thy neighbor is a responsibility. And why we keep shunning it and shucking it off to other people is ridiculous. Those are our rights. It is something that is inherent in human beings. Why would we ever assign that right to someone else to speak for us? We must start using our voices. We must start using our ears. And more importantly, we have got to find a way to get back to our hearts, because this is the problem. This callousness, this video game mentality for life is so dangerous and malignant. The Republican Party needs to find a way to lead this conversation. We dropped the ball on the border. We dropped the ball during COVID. We had a chance. We could have led it the right way. We could have stood our ground. We should have let fear take second place to reason and rationale. There are so many things where we have had a choice to lead on, and we sit and we wait for them to fail. Our country cannot stand it anymore. It cannot stand these type of politicians anymore. And simply sitting on your hands makes you complicit. We must find a way to get legislation that is desperately needed around abortion, around protecting our schools, around protecting our border, stopping fentanyl, stop sending money wantonly overseas for nothing in return, getting in never-ending wars. We must start talking.